Are you looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football and basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the PrizePicks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/bluewire and use code BLUEWIRE. That's code BLUEWIRE at prizepicks.com/bluewire for a first deposit match of up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Support for this podcast comes from Frito-Lay and the 2023 Snack Bracket Championship. The Frito-Lay Snack-It Challenge is underway, and fans are voting on their favorite snacks to crown champion. We're talking about prime-time matchups between the best 64 snacks in the land. Will Ruffles Ridges reign supreme? Can Doritos defend their dynasty? Or will Smart Food use their smarts for a surprise upset? Only you can decide. Get in on all the action for a chance to win up to $1,000 or a year's worth of snacks. Let your snacks be heard. Just go to fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com to vote and enter for a chance to win. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends April 3rd, 2023. Void where prohibited. Year's worth of snacks awarded in the form of 52 coupons, each good for 1 bag of chips. See official rules at fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Kirk Your Enthusiasm. Today, I am joined by my internet friend and recent real-life acquaintance, Tyler Parker, who is a staff writer at The Ringer and friends with a lot of my friends, so I bothered him today. How you doing, Tyler?
Good, buddy. I mean, I feel like we're friends, right?
Sure.
Are we? Well, let's be friends.
I concur. It's always weird when you meet somebody that you've seen on internet things.
Sure.
Because like when your first introduction to you is like some of these crazy videos you guys did at The Ringer years ago, and it's like, oh,
Sure.
That's that guy. Great stuff. Anyhow. So for those of you who have been listening to my kind of on and off series as I try to make it through the summer, actually figuring out what I'm doing, I've been talking to different people that have that are fans or analysts of various Western Conference teams, because I don't care about the Eastern Conference. And I mean, I gotta play them twice. Like the Mavericks play the like Orlando Magic twice in the first 15 games. Like I'm not gonna think about the Magic ever again.
You don't got to think about the Magic. I got to think about the Magic because Paolo's there now, but you don't got to worry about it. You don't got to.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. It's fine. So, as I mentioned, Tyler is a very firm Oklahoma City Thunder fan, and they are quietly and secretly on the rise. So let's sort of walk through elements of the offseason that you have latched onto, and we'll take it from there.
Sure. No, I mean the two biggest things, obviously, Chet is, drafting Chet and him actually, looking like quite a bit of his stuff is going to translate. That's been very exciting. His ability to do a lot of different things and stack stats in he's even getting steals.
Yeah,
and things like that. I think just, obviously I'm not going to say anything, new or smarter than what's already been said about his defense. I think the exciting thing is that he is able to move his feet in space, it seems like pretty well. And he's going to be able to, he's not going to have to be one of these fives that's just stuck under the rim all the time. He's going to be able to actually get out and do some stuff, I think, defensively, which is exciting.
Well, and since most people who listen to this are either Mavs fans or my friends, I think it's important to contextualize that Chet Holmgren is a motherfucker, and I mean that in the most complimentary way.
No,
yes, 100%. Yeah, I mean he looks like Jack Skellington, and that's okay, but his frame has never once been a problem for him. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, he's going to get pushed around. That may be true, but he will push back. And so many of these kind of skinny guys get labeled as soft, and sometimes it's right, but this dude is not. He is fun.
He plays with attitude, and he's, there's aggression at the point of contact at the rim, right? He's not grazing these blocks, or he's not just stopping the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's coming in like Karch Karai and ready to be loud about a block. You know what I mean? And I think that those are the things that adds to you could see in the summer league games early on, especially because he's a trophy, right? If you can poke one on him, then you're going to be on Sports Center. But if guys would just slowly realize, like, oh, there's less of a flight path here than I thought. And to watch people sort of slowly readjust and be like, oh, okay, maybe there was a reason for everybody was so pumped up about him as a defender. It was fun watching some of the opposing guards, especially, discover that in some of those summer league games.
I love that. Well, and so the Mavericks get an early taste of Chet Holmgren. I think they play the 5th game of the season. I was looking at that where
gotcha.
Yeah, that'll be real fun. And then there's also the PR team nightmare of Jalen Williams and Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
And let's talk about shorter 6'6" Santa Clara guy, Jalen Williams first.
Yeah, I mean he's the guy. I mean the Arkansas dude is, he plays hard, seems very smart, seems like he's going to be a good positional defender kind of guy. But it's the guy that all the Thunder people are stoked on is Jalen Williams. You're not more excited about him than Chet, right? Like Chet is still the better prospect. He's still got the higher upside, all that sort of stuff. But I just didn't know that much about him, about Santa Clara Jalen Williams beforehand. Yeah. And yeah, seeing his stuff that he can do on the ball, but also that the shot looks like it's going to translate, and that he's just going to be able to fill the gaps. It seems like it's just so exciting. I really want them to try and do a little him at the 4 type of thing.
Yeah.
And let Giddey bump down and guard the 4. Giddey's 6'8", whatever. Let him bump down if you're worried about his foot speed up top or something. And then Jalen can shift up and guard the 3s or the 2s, or depending on whoever's out there with them. But no, I mean, they seem super duper pumped up about Jalen Williams. And I love dudes like that. I mean, he came into college, what was he, like 6'2" or something, leaves 6'6" and was the dude on those Santa Clara teams, which I think matters. I mean, I think if you're at some of these mid-major types of schools and you're tasked with doing a lot and the game is on your shoulders, and if y'all win, it's probably because you played well, and if y'all lose, it's probably because, either you didn't have enough help or it was your fault, I guess. But what a stupid thing to just say just now. What a terrible line, Tyler.
I love it.
But no, like I like that he had so much responsibility in college, and I like that, and I think that that's gonna free him up a lot in the pros. I think he's gonna be like, oh, I don't have to worry about as much, especially early. I think he's, So yeah, I'm pumped up. Sorry to get.
Well, then there's other Jalen Williams from Arkansas, who Mavericks fans. He was a guy that before the Mavericks traded away their pick, a lot of our fans had sort of had him penciled because he's 6'10", 240-pound guy. He actually had at least one fun game against Chet Holmgren, I think, in college.
No, like drew a bunch of charges on him, I think.
Right, which is he's just a charge machine, hard-playing guy. Kind of like it at the moment as I'm looking through this, the opening, like currently the ESPN roster has like 35 guys for the Thunder, because that's just how it is. And so, and then there's actually a third Jalen on the team, Jalen Horde. That's fascinating. But he seems like a guy that will probably not. I don't know if he'll play a ton, but when he does, he's just going to be like pure energy, and that sort of stuff can really matter for a developing team.
For sure. No, I think that he's the type of guy that he is going it seems like he knows what he is. He's not going to try to do too much. He's just going to be out there and know that, okay, I'm a guy, like, I'm going to get the ball moving. I'm going to set some screens. I'm going to get some rebounds, and then I'm just going to do all the dirty stuff, all the hard hat kind of stuff. And I think that you can't have. You're dealing with my ADHD so bad right now, Kirk.
That's okay.
I think that when you're going to take a big in the second round like that, it should probably either be some dude who is just like, okay, we know exactly what you are, or you just strictly upside, right? And it seems like it's and I don't know if they think that he's gonna add some perimeter shooting to his game at all. I'm not sure if that's
maybe it's like a pure best player available kind of thing.
Yeah,
and that's fine. That's fun.
Totally, yeah. He's a guy that it seems like everybody on the team really likes. The vibes are very good there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but yeah, his energy and his he just seems like the type of dude that's going to be pretty consistent. You're going to be able to know what you're going to get out of him,
right?
And that's not necessarily something that they've always had with some of their backup bigs, right? So it's no, I don't think he's going to get a ton of burn, honestly, this year, unless barring injuries or late in the season whenever they decide to, if they decide to tank it up. But he's definitely somebody that I'm excited to see in 3 years. You know what I mean?
So you said something there that I think is worth kind of pivoting to, because we can talk about some of the other Thunder players and expectations. You said if the Thunder decide to tank it up. I think one of the challenges when you get a team that has a guy like Chet Holmgren and now, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is one of the, if the Thunder don't sit him, he just makes kind of he's such an impressive guard. I got to go see the Mavericks and Thunder play up close in early December, and Shai is just an amazing player. So it's like, you look at the roster, there's Lou Dort, who signed a really big for him contract extension. There's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and then there's the star of Dune, Josh Giddey, whose hair, his hair in real life is just as magnificent.
It's pretty unbelievable. It really is. It's just as good, if not better, than you would expect it to be.
And it's great driving through Oklahoma, where you see his it has all these ads for car dealerships, and it's big flowing hair, and it's really something. But this team might be too talented to really tank.
Yeah.
And that leads me sort of into the next part of what I wanted to talk about. What are your actual expectations for this team? Because the West is just a murderer's row.
Yeah, I think that is a thing that I've been trying to keep in mind, is that the West is just stacked. I'm with you, though, that it seems like there's just too much talent on the team to bottom out in the way that they might like to, I think Shai is really, really, really good. I think he's all-star level. If the Thunder would have won more games, or if the Thunder were to win more games, I think he'll have the numbers in. I think he's that type of dude. I don't know what they're going to do if they look up and Chet's translating even better than it seems like he's going to now, and Giddey's shot has improved. He's obviously just going to be better by virtue of just it's another year.
Right.
All the reports out of Summer League, not just from people watching, but dudes playing, are like, yeah, this guy's got it. It's those three alone. And it might be unfair to put Chet up there just yet, but just those two dudes, they're going to be better. Shai's shot's going to be better this year. Last year was more the exception than the rule. He's been a good shooter up until then. So I think as more eyeballs get on other offensive players, I think that his percentages are going to kind of rise back to what they were. I honestly don't know. I keep trying to think about what they would do in that sort of situation. Like, how badly do they want to bottom out this time around? I think that for the people who think that they won't just totally, full scale sit all the good dudes at the end of I think those people
You'd have to sit like 7 guys. That's the problem. Like you can't, like, even like Teo Maledon is really pretty good at basketball. You're not going to be playing. Who's the white guy? Like Ty Jerome. Like, it's not like you're going to have a Ty Jerome led team sometime in like mid-March.
Well, the other, and this isn't a problem, it's a good thing, but like the other problem is that the Thunder just play really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Even in these seasons where they've been losing a ton of games, there are countless examples of them giving teams a run for their money that they really have no business, doing so. Like, they're just playing hard, they're just competing, and the other teams are underestimating them, and then it slowly fades away.
That's right.
I'll be interested to see just how good Chet winds up being. If Chet can be, I mean, so few rookies are positive players, right? Like, if Chet can be an actual positive dude, then talking like plus minus wise, like, right, then I think, it's going to get super interesting. I don't know how committed they are to the tank this year. I don't think they're not going to go out and trade for some, disgruntled, decent player this year. I think that they're still, riding with the young dudes. I think that trade comes later.
Sure.
But I don't think they're pulling their assets to go all in just yet or anything like that. But no, I mean, when you say that they might have to sit 7 guys in order to like it, I mean, they've got too much. I think now they're going to just have a little bit too much firepower to be able to just really shit the bed in the ways that you need to if you're going to wind up with one of those bottom 3 picks.
That's right. Like, it strikes me. So the Thunder last year finished. What did they finish? I should know this off the top of my head. Standings. This is great podcasting, everybody.
Oh, we were fourth, right?
Yeah, 24 and 58. No, see, I don't see how this team, like Chet Holmgren and the 3 rookies and some seasoning, like, at a minimum, to me, this team has a floor of like 30 wins. And if you start looking at the 30 win range, that actually puts you in kind of the, there was a pretty firm cutoff last year that the Spurs were 34 and they were 10th, so they were in the play-in. Right. So it's like you start talking about flirting with play-in type stuff, and I really think to me, that's sort of where, they're going to have to make that assessment. But if you start like mega tanking, you're going to have to commit in a way that is probably almost too blatant to be realistic.
Especially coming on the heels of these last couple seasons, where at the end of the year, 2 years ago, they do what they did, and then last year, the other factor with last season was Shea was injured for a large portion of the middle of the year.
Yeah.
If Shea doesn't have an extended stretch where he's down, I think that Shea is better than a lot of NBA fans realize. I think that he is much improved as a closer, and I think that as they get more shooting around him, he's just gonna get more and more dangerous.
I think so.
He gets downhill so well, and like Thunder fans love to talk about how he has led the league in drives, the last 2 years or whatever. But he's so crafty with the ball in his hands, especially once he gets into the lane. I think, you just combine him with Giddey and what Chet can do. I just also like Kenrich didn't play as much last year. He was dinged up a little bit, and weirdly, I think that he's a very, very solid player, and I think
Oh
that
yeah,
as the guys around him, as the talent around him is, raised, I think that he's the type of like kind of plug and play dude on a contender that is going to be very, very valuable for them as they, start to become an up and coming team that's actually trying to win some games.
oh yeah.
He's a dude that not a ton of people talk about, and I think that he's a big, big part of what they're gonna do.
He was a guy who Mavs fans sort of, and a lot of teams fans thirsted after. And what the Thunder have done in team building is basically sign a lot of these guys to very team friendly and trade friendly contracts to where they're going to be able to move. So I think sort of bottom line, Thunder are going to be a sneaky, fantastic watch. If you're one of these people who is listening to a Mavericks podcast in August, you probably like basketball a lot. So I would sort of put the Thunder on your League Pass watchability rankings. They're going to be a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
Any other closing Thunder thoughts before I bother you about something else?
No. I mean, I think that last point that you made is kind of hitting the nail on the head. Just as far as the way that I'm approaching the year, I'm just pumped up because it looks like they're going to be fun, and they're going to play a brand of basketball that is exciting. I like the idea of, there some people get a little fussy talking about like, well, I mean, is Giddey the point guard or is Shea? And it's like, look, you need multiple guys that can handle the ball in today's NBA. These one horse, shows like they don't one man shows, one horse towns. Jesus Christ.
I like that.
Yeah. But they just don't work anymore, really.
Right.
And so it's did I freeze on you?
No, you're good.
Okay. And so I'm just really, really excited about the two of them playing together, honestly, because I think that Giddey can get off the ball so quick. He doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to have it in his hands all the time. He likes those quick hit ahead passes. He likes these cross court things. He's not trying to dominate possessions in the ways that in ways that worry me, really. He's a guy that I think he's going to be pretty easy to play with, honestly. So yeah, I'm hopeful.
Well, hopeful is the best point in kind of the fan cycle, I think, because I'm on this with Mavs fans. We're kind of in the like, well, what's an acceptable season next year? And it's like, I just want to watch good basketball, and our watching 1 year of Dennis Smith Jr. was kind of enough to make me realize, like, I just need to not complain quite so much because I've had it pretty good. I've had it pretty good as a Dallas fan.
We're Mavs fans because I know that at least some of my Mavs friends, there can be a little bit of frustration, a lot of the jaw love and stuff like that in relation to people maybe holding Luka to an unfair standard whenever his numbers were bonkers and maybe even a little bit better than Jaw's last year, right? Was there some validation whenever this schedule came out and y'all had more national TV games than Memphis did?
I think a little bit. I also think that it's weird. We're just in this strange part of the cycle where Luka fans are really cresting over into Joel Embiid Superstan territory, where everything is a variation of jihad, and that's not fun. And I take a lot of grief from my Twitter feed because I live tweet games like I'm screaming at a bar, so everybody thinks I'm a moron, and I might be a moron, but not quite in the same way people expect of me. And so it's what I've been trying to preach this offseason is expectations are the thief of joy. You got to have fun with this while you can, because all of a sudden things are different, and you can go from having really enjoyable basketball to having really painful mediocre basketball where you can't do anything with it. So
y'all got to be pumped up about Luka looking slim and trim, though.
I mean, it's terrifying because he's
looking like a little hottie now. It's pretty exciting.
He is, and it's so amazing when he looks like that because he plays differently, and I'm excited about the season at the moment. But
if he shows up with a full sleeve, tatted up, I think that it's MVP for sure.
Well, but it'll be like Aaron Rodgers tattoos, though. He has some if you look at he has some crazy tattoos.
He's got some stuff, yeah.
I'm gonna piss off the Slovenians. I apologize, guys. I love Luca. You guys know this. I've kept you longer than I intended to, but you turned in I was looking you up before we started, and you told me you were working on a piece, but I didn't ask what it was. And it turns out it's a 3,000 word, really thoughtful piece on Joe Pera Talks, which is an adult swim show that just ended. And it's, you and I were talking in pre-show, like, I'm not very good about talking about certain sort of stuff. When it comes to art and things, I really don't know how to talk about it. And I listen to a lot of Ringer shows. One of the things that always makes me laugh is how Chris Ryan and Andy Greenwald talk about how they can't discuss comedy. And you wrote a line in here that's I'm going to be thinking about for a while, where you say it's easier to critically discuss a serious piece of art than a funny one. Dramas are much more likely to lend themselves to the English class treatment. Writing about comedy is tricky. And you wrote this really, like, just sort of, I mean, it's a lovely piece. I'm linking it in the show notes. Everybody should go read it. Even if you don't know what this show is, you should go read it. Give me kind of your elevator pitch on how you pitched this piece.
Well, I mean, that's very nice of you to say. And I appreciate, that's cool of you to read it and cool of you to include it in the show notes. I'm glad that you liked it. The way it went down was just, I mean, I obviously loved that show, since I heard about it. One of the culture meetings, the idea of a cringe comedy day got brought up. A sort of trying to line that up. Today is the season finale of the Nathan Fielder show on HBO, The Rehearsal, which is very funny and very uncomfortable. And they wanted to they were thinking about trying to do a day because the summers can be slow content wise.
Yes.
And so they brought that up, and I was just sort of thinking about that type of comedy and the kind of stuff that I liked, but just sort of kept coming back to that this Joe Pera Talks with You show felt very unique in that it was actively trying to make you feel good, and in ways that, in different ways than just trying to make you laugh. It was like a properly thoughtful comedy about the world and the tiny little things in it. He talks about iron, very just second refrigerators, right? Like just very, very, on the face of it, right? Very silly things or just how are you going to create a comedy program out of the rat wars of Alberta, Canada, right? Like, how is this going to happen? And so part of my, and I don't even think I included this in the piece, but part of it is just like, I think that it's a high degree of difficulty to be able to do a show like that. They're all around 11 minutes long, that they can fit so much into them, and so many jokes and so much feeling into them, I think is very impressive. But yeah, the way that I was looking at it was just like, maybe I'll just approach this from like, what is the opposite of cringe comedy? Like, what is something that's trying to be the anti-cringe and try to leave you feeling warm, and but not doing that while not sacrificing the comedy. Like, it's still like it's still filled with heaters. And so I've just always been super impressed by the show. And it's Pera works with some old Chicago comedians that I know from my days when I was doing improv in Chicago. And so, I got super duper into the show and just kind of fell in love.
Well, it really comes out in the piece, because understanding that I really didn't have any connection to this at all, didn't really know what it was. Like, I just, between basketball and life, there's so much stuff you could watch these days. And so I just I kept reading the whole damn thing. Nobody reads pieces this long anymore. And I read it, and it's It's
but I
like, this is a
appreciate it.
labor of love. Like, it's really nice. I recommend everybody go give it a read.
I appreciate it, and honestly, like I wasn't even planning on doing this, but if go onto YouTube and type in Joe Pera Talks You Back to Sleep. That's one of the full episodes that Adult Swim put up, and it's a pretty good representation of the show. The other one, if you have an HBO Max account,
There it is. Yeah.
if you have HBO Max, then you can go watch the whole thing. I mean, the episode that a ton of people talk about, and one that's honestly one of the more joyful episodes of television that I've ever seen, is an episode called Joe Pera Reads You the Church Announcements. And it's not that. It starts off as that, and it takes such a hard turn, and I don't even want to give you what it turns to, because it will make you so happy when you see he has heard a song for the first time recently, like the day before, basically, and he just wants to talk about how great this song is. And it's an actual song. I don't want to say which song it is, because it's such a good joke that it deserves to be preserved and just experienced, purely. But yeah, if you have, it can't be more than 11 or 12 minutes long. If you got that much time in an HBO Max account, go watch that episode.
Well, I've already taken up 10 more minutes of your time than I promised, but I really thank you for...
You have to deal with all my pauses.
No, it's good. It's great stuff. I leave them in there too. This show gets precisely no editing. Like, I don't get paid enough to do this. I do all this as labors of love are what this is all about. And I'm in there, and hopefully everybody will make it to the end. I will bother you about this later because I'm curious, but I did see when stalking your Twitter feed that you wrote a novel that's coming out next year, and that is super freaking cool.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, that's started writing that thing in 2015. And
I write 300-word bursts, so like the concept of a novel gives me hives. So good.
Well,
that's really cool.
Hopefully it comes out June 2023, and they're doing the cover and shit right now. It's wild. It's crazy.
Well, we will probably see some of your stuff this season on The Ringer. I am really delighted that you and J. Kyle Mann are bringing back melodious Southern voices to The Ringer, because all these damn Northeastern bastards and their Boston accents and this shit. Like, we need more, KOC's mostly worked out his accent, but it's like you got like the regional accents.
You got to get a little drawl in the mix.
I love it. Like, you and Kyle were talking to each other on that show, and it just got progressively more Southern, which was beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I was like, whenever we were in Vegas, it's my first time being around some of the NBA media people and stuff like that, and I could, as I drink more, the the accent gets a little thicker and thicker and thicker, and so there were a few different people that were like, oh wow, so okay, so you are from Oklahoma. Okay, got it. Like that.
I worked most of mine out because I grew up in Texas and then lived in California and DC, and I don't really talk like it anymore. But I used to, because that sort of thing just is really easy to fall back into if you've had some beverages.
I was so bad freshman year that I was driving around, and I was driving around with friends, and they stopped to pick up a girl who I had been told was from Dallas. And she got in the car, and I said, "Hi, I'm Tyler." And she said, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Oklahoma. Where are you from?" Her dad, her dad's pharmaceuticals. She's probably a terrible person now. It's okay.
I love it. This has been great. Thank you for taking part of your Friday. I don't think this is going to go up till late Sunday night, but those of you should go check out the piece. Go listen to Joe Pera Talk. Follow. You don't tweet. Nobody needs to follow you on Twitter.
Just stay. I don't care.
Stay far away from Twitter. It's a hellscape where I live. This has been Kirk and Tyler for another bizarre and wonderful episode of Kirk Your Enthusiasm. Enjoy your week.
Today's episode is brought to you by Cars.com. With over 2 million vehicles and 50,000 more added every day, Cars.com will match you with the perfect car for you, your budget, your life, your style. And if you're ready to say goodbye to your current car, Cars.com will get you an instant offer to cash it in. Just start by entering your license plate and get matched with a local dealer who will write you the check. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, just go to Cars.com. It's magical.